Welcome to English Easy Hub. Join us as we ignite the flames of your English learning journey together.
Please subscribe to watch and embark on your English learning journey. Don't miss out on the exciting content. In this conversation, Andy, a language learner struggling with the fear of speaking English, seeks guidance from his professor on how to overcome this challenge. The dialogue delves into understanding the root causes of fear, the importance of embracing mistakes, and practical strategies for building confidence through consistent practice, mindset shifts, and community support.
Hi, Professor. I've been struggling with speaking English fluently because I often feel overwhelmed by fear. I know this is a common problem, but how can I specifically overcome this fear to start speaking confidently?
Fear is a natural response when we step out of our comfort zones. Andy, especially with something as personal and challenging as speaking a new language. To overcome this fear, it's important first to understand its root cause. Is it the fear of making mistakes, the anxiety of being judged, or perhaps a general lack of familiarity with English?
I think it's a combination of all three, but mostly the fear of making mistakes and being judged. Whenever I try to speak English, I feel like people are silently criticizing me. How can I get past that?
That's a very common concern. The first thing to realize is that making mistakes is not only normal, but an essential part of the learning process. Every fluent speaker, even native English speakers, makes mistakes. Instead of viewing them as failures, start seeing them as valuable learning opportunities. When you shift your focus from perfection to progress, the fear of judgment often diminishes because you understand that mistakes are steps toward improvement, not indicators of inadequacy.
I understand that, but how do I begin to change my mindset? It's one thing to know that mistakes are okay, but it's another to truly believe it and not be scared when speaking.
Changing your mindset is indeed challenging, but it's entirely possible with consistent effort. One effective method is to set small, manageable goals that allow you to experience success incrementally. For example, you could set a goal to speak English for just 5 minutes every day without worrying about mistakes. Gradually increase this time as you grow more comfortable. Over time, these small successes will build your confidence and help you reframe your thinking about mistakes. They'll start to feel like natural parts of your progress rather than obstacles.
That's a good approach. I've heard that practicing regularly is key, but sometimes I'm unsure where to start. Should I focus more on listening, reading, or speaking? What's the best way to practice so that I can overcome my fear more effectively?
Your practice should be well-rounded. But since your goal is to speak more confidently, prioritizing speaking is crucial. That said, listening and reading also play significant roles because they help you internalize the language, making speaking feel more natural. Start by engaging in simple conversations, even if it's just talking to yourself or practicing with language exchange partners online. Listening to English podcasts, watching English shows, or reading simple articles can enhance your understanding and expose you to different accents and expressions, which in turn boosts your speaking confidence. The key is to immerse yourself in the language as much as possible.
That makes sense. But I often feel like I hit a plateau with my learning. I practice regularly, but I don't feel like I'm improving anymore. How can I move past this and keep progressing?
Hitting a plateau is a common experience for language learners, but it's also a sign that you've become comfortable with your current level, which is a good thing. To push through this plateau, you need to introduce new challenges into your practice. Try discussing more complex topics or engaging with materials slightly above your current level, such as advanced articles, podcasts, or videos. Additionally, seek feedback from others, which can provide you with new perspectives and highlight areas for improvement that you might not have noticed on your own. This will help you break through the plateau and continue advancing your skills.
Feedback sounds valuable, but it also makes me nervous. What if the feedback is negative and discourages me further? How should I handle that?
It's perfectly normal to feel nervous about feedback, but it's important to approach it with the right mindset. View feedback as a tool for growth rather than as criticism. When you receive constructive feedback, it's not about pointing out what you've done wrong, but about helping you see where you can improve. Focus on specific suggestions and think of them as steps to enhance your skills. If the feedback is particularly critical, try to extract the useful information and remember that everyone has areas to work on. Over time, as you become more accustomed to receiving feedback, you'll find it empowering rather than discouraging.
I'll try to approach feedback with that mindset. I've also been thinking about how technology can help me improve. There are so many apps and online resources available, but sometimes it's overwhelming. How can I use these tools effectively without getting lost in all the options?
Technology offers a wealth of resources, but it's easy to feel overwhelmed if you try to use too many at once. The key is to identify your specific needs, whether it's speaking, listening, vocabulary, or grammar, and then choose one or two tools that cater to those areas. For instance, if you need more speaking practice, a language exchange app might be ideal. If you want to improve listening, English podcasts or videos could be more suitable. The most important thing is consistency. Use these tools regularly and focus on quality practice rather than the quantity of resources. By being selective and disciplined, you can make technology a powerful ally in your learning process.
That's really helpful. I'll stick to a few resources and make sure I use them consistently. One more thing, I often feel isolated in my language learning journey. How can I find a community or support system to keep me motivated and accountable?
Building a community around your language learning is an excellent idea and can significantly boost your motivation. You can start by joining online forums, social media groups, or even local meetups focused on English learners. Participating in discussions, sharing your challenges, and celebrating your successes with others who are on a similar journey can create a sense of camaraderie and support. Additionally, language exchange programs can connect you with native speakers or other learners for mutual practice and encouragement. Finding a study partner or mentor can also be very beneficial. They can help keep you accountable, provide feedback, and share their own experiences, making the learning process less lonely and more engaging.
That sounds like exactly what I need. I'll look into finding some groups or a study partner. I'm feeling more confident about facing my fears now, thanks to your advice.
I'm glad to hear that, Andy. Remember, language learning is a marathon, not a sprint. Embrace the journey, and don't hesitate to seek help when you need it. You've already made significant progress by acknowledging your fears and seeking ways to overcome them. Keep moving forward, and you'll continue to see improvement.
Speaking of progress, I sometimes find it hard to measure how much I've improved. What are some ways I can track my progress in speaking English? I think seeing tangible results could help reduce my fear.
Tracking progress can indeed be motivating and help you see how far you've come. One method is to record yourself speaking regularly, maybe once a week or once a month, and then listen to those recordings after a few weeks. You'll likely notice improvements in fluency, pronunciation, and confidence over time. Another way is to keep a language journal where you note down new words, phrases, or experiences you've had in English. Reflecting on this journal periodically can show you the breadth of what you've learned. Additionally, setting specific, measurable goals, like having a 5-minute conversation without pausing or asking a question to a native speaker, can provide clear milestones to celebrate.
Recording myself sounds a bit daunting, but I can see how it would be useful. What if I listen to the recordings and feel disappointed with my progress? How should I deal with that?
It's natural to feel critical when you hear your own voice or notice areas where you struggle, but it's important to approach it with a growth mindset. Rather than focusing on what's lacking, look for areas of improvement, no matter how small. Even if you notice that you're speaking more clearly or using new vocabulary, that's progress worth acknowledging. If you do feel disappointed, use that as fuel to identify specific areas to work on. Remember, language learning is not linear. You'll have peaks and valleys. The key is to keep moving forward, even when progress seems slow.
I guess being kind to myself is part of the process, too. Speaking of which, how can I stay motivated when I hit those valleys? Sometimes, when progress feels slow, I start losing motivation and the fear creeps back in.
Motivation can ebb and flow, especially during challenging phases. One strategy is to remind yourself of your original reasons for learning English, whether it's for career opportunities, travel, or personal growth. Keeping those reasons in mind can help rekindle your motivation. It's also helpful to mix up your routine when you're feeling stuck. Try learning through a different medium like music or movies, or focus on a different aspect of the language like culture or slang. Setting short-term, achievable goals can also help maintain your momentum. Lastly, don't hesitate to reward yourself for your efforts. Recognize that you're doing something difficult and celebrate your perseverance.
I like the idea of mixing up my routine. I sometimes forget that learning can be fun, too, not just about the pressure to perform well. What are some fun ways I can practice speaking English that might also help reduce my fear?
Absolutely, Andy. Making learning enjoyable can go a long way in reducing fear and anxiety. One fun method is to engage with English through activities you already enjoy, such as watching your favorite shows or movies in English, listening to English music, or playing video games in English. You could also try learning through storytelling. Create short stories in English and narrate them aloud. Another idea is to join English-speaking clubs or groups where you can discuss hobbies or interests in a relaxed setting. Role-playing different scenarios like ordering food in a restaurant or booking a hotel can also be a fun and practical way to practice. The more you enjoy the process, the less intimidating it will feel.
Those sound like great ideas. I've always loved music, so maybe I'll start with that. What about practicing English with friends who are also learning? Is that effective, or should I focus more on native speakers?
Practicing with friends who are also learning can be very effective, especially if you both take it seriously and commit to using English as much as possible. It can be less intimidating than speaking with native speakers and provides a supportive environment where you can learn from each other's mistakes. However, interacting with native speakers is also valuable because it exposes you to authentic language use and helps you pick up on nuances in pronunciation, tone, and idiomatic expressions. Ideally, you should balance both, practice with friends for comfort and mutual support, and engage with native speakers to challenge yourself and deepen your understanding of the language.
That makes sense. I'll try to find a balance between the two. One last question. Sometimes, despite all the practice, I still freeze up when I need to speak English in real-life situations, like at work or when I'm traveling. How can I overcome this sudden fear?
Freezing up in real-life situations is a common reaction, especially when the stakes feel high. One way to overcome this is through visualization. Before the situation occurs, visualize yourself successfully navigating the conversation. Picture yourself calm, confident, and speaking clearly. This mental rehearsal can reduce anxiety when the moment arrives. Another technique is to have a few go-to phrases or questions memorized that you can rely on when you feel stuck. This gives you something familiar to start with, which can help you regain your footing. Finally, try to focus on the conversation's purpose, communicating an idea or asking a question, rather than on how you're being perceived. Shifting your focus outward can ease the pressure you place on yourself.
Visualization sounds like a useful strategy, and having some prepared phrases might help me feel less panicked. I'll definitely give these techniques a try. Thank you so much for all your advice, Professor. I feel more equipped to tackle my fear of speaking English now.
I'm glad to hear that, Andy. Remember, overcoming fear is a process, and you're already well on your way by seeking out strategies and staying committed. Keep practicing, be patient with yourself, and celebrate every step forward, no matter how small. I'm confident that you'll continue to improve and build the confidence you need to speak English fluently. Don't hesitate to reach out if you need more guidance along the way.
The conversation concludes with a comprehensive set of strategies for overcoming the fear of speaking English. Key takeaways include the importance of embracing mistakes as part of the learning process, the value of small, manageable goals, and the role of consistent practice. Additionally, the dialogue highlights the significance of community support, balancing different types of practice, and using visualization and mental preparation to handle real-life situations. These insights equip Andy with the tools and mindset needed to progress on his language learning journey with greater confidence and resilience.
Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share to keep the English learning journey alive.